Hello friends. Welcome to Audiobook Daily. Today we'll talk about Focus on What Matters by Darius Foroux. Published in 2022. It was 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. A young professional named Aisha sat at her desk in a small apartment in Dubai, staring at her laptop. Her inbox overflowed, social media notifications blinked, and her phone kept vibrating with endless, urgent messages. She sighed, rubbing her temples. Every day felt like a race she never signed up for, chasing deadlines, trying to keep up with others, scrolling for validation. Yet at night she felt hollow. Despite being busy, she didn't feel alive. One morning, after another sleepless night, she whispered to herself, "What am I even doing all this for?" That question, the one we all eventually ask, became the beginning of her change. And that's exactly where Darius Foroux's book, Focus on What Matters, begins, with that uncomfortable realization that we're often spending our time, energy, and attention on things that don't truly matter. 1. The chaos of modern life. Foroux opens the book by reflecting on our greatest modern challenge, distraction. We're surrounded by information, opportunities, and opinions, but drowning in noise. We confuse movement with progress and busyness with success. He writes that people today are rich in distractions but poor in direction. The more options we have, the more scattered our minds become. We check our phones hundreds of times a day, consume endless content, and yet feel emptier than ever. The problem isn't lack of intelligence or ambition, it's lack of focus. We've forgotten the art of concentrating our attention on the things that give life meaning. 2. The core message. Focus is the foundation of a good life. Foroux doesn't lecture. He writes through letters, calm, wise reflections inspired by the Stoic philosophers, especially Seneca. Each short letter feels like advice from an older, wiser friend. His message is clear. You can't do everything, but you can do what truly matters. In other words, life becomes meaningful when you choose deliberately. You don't have to be everywhere or please everyone. You simply have to decide where your time and attention belong, and then protect that focus with discipline. He reminds us that attention is life's most valuable currency. Where our attention goes, our energy follows, and that determines the quality of our days. 3. The Stoic perspective. Control what you can. Drawing on Stoic philosophy, Foroux emphasizes one timeless truth: we cannot control the world, only our response to it. He writes that frustration often comes from trying to control what's outside our power, other people, outcomes, or circumstances. The Stoics taught that peace comes from acceptance. Foroux puts it this way: every distraction begins with resistance. When you stop fighting what's outside your control, your focus returns to where it belongs, within. When life throws challenges your way, a failed job, a broken relationship, a lost opportunity, focus not on what's lost, but on how you can grow from it. The more you align your energy with what you can influence, the more stable your life becomes. For simplicity is strength. A powerful theme throughout the book is simplicity. Foroux argues that modern people are addicted to complexity, multitasking, overcommitting, overthinking. But real mastery comes from subtraction, not addition. He writes, "The more you simplify your life, the more space you create for what truly matters." He suggests decluttering not just your desk or phone, but your mind. Let go of unnecessary goals, opinions, and toxic comparisons. You don't need 50 habits or 10-year plans, you just need clarity about what's important today. This philosophy of simplicity applies to every area of life. In work, do what adds value, not what adds stress. In relationships, nurture depth over quantity. In self-growth, focus on progress, not perfection. 5. The discipline of focus. Foroux makes it clear that focus isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily discipline. Discipline, he says, isn't about harsh self-control, it's about self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, waking early, exercising, staying off your phone, you reinforce trust in your own word. That trust builds confidence. He writes, "You don't need constant motivation. You need consistent systems. Motivation fades, but structure remains. Whether it's dedicating 1 hour daily to your most meaningful project or turning off notifications during deep work, structure builds freedom. Over time, you become less reactive, more intentional, and more peaceful. Foroux also reminds us that discipline doesn't mean eliminating rest or joy. It means choosing with awareness. Rest with intention, not avoidance. Work with presence, not pressure. 6. Happiness through alignment. One of the most profound ideas in the book is that happiness is a result of alignment, when your values, actions, and goals point in the same direction. We often think happiness comes from achievement or pleasure, but Foroux shows that true contentment arises when you live in accordance with your values, when you're honest, disciplined, grateful, and present. He writes, "You don't find happiness by chasing it. You create it by focusing on what truly matters every single day." Happiness, then, is not an emotion to chase but a state you cultivate through focus, simplicity, and self-mastery. 7. The ultimate lesson: time is life. The book concludes with one of Forouz's most powerful lessons. Time is the ultimate currency. We often say we don't have time, but Foroux argues we're not short on time, we simply waste it. Every distraction steals a moment of our life we'll never get back. He writes, "We think we own our time, but unless we decide what to do with it, the world will decide for us." When we learn to focus on what matters, relationships, growth, purpose, health, we no longer feel like time is slipping away. Instead, we begin living it. Weeks later, Aisha changed a few things. She started journaling in the morning instead of scrolling. She made a short list of daily priorities. She said no to unnecessary meetings. And she began to notice a shift. Her days felt calmer, her thoughts clearer, her sense of direction stronger. The noise of the world didn't disappear, but her response to it changed. Because she finally understood, she didn't need to do everything. She just needed to focus on what truly mattered. And that's the quiet, powerful message of Darius Forouz's book, a reminder that our attention shapes our destiny. Life doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. So today, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what truly matters to me? And then, give that your focus, because that's where your life begins to change. Thank you for listening. See you in next Audiobook Daily.